we're live. This is weird. Arrow's over. I really don't know what to add. Mike, go ahead.
So this is the series finale to a show 8 years. 8 years of, well, it's been quite a ride. In this episode, we mourn the loss of Star City's beloved Oliver Queen, but also Diggle, Diggle's going through denial that his mission is over until William gets kidnapped. And so he gathers the team one last time. I just want to dive right in.
I can't get over they actually had Ragman.
Right?
That was the most. We got rid of a character we had no plans for, but he came back because randomly his rags just didn't work anymore, and then now he's here again, so he can scare some folks, and then boop.
I am though just genuinely glad to see him again.
Oh, I am too.
Because he was one of my favorite supporting characters of season 5.
He was. When I heard that they were getting Ragman, I was like, huh? There was cool, yeah, he's gonna get into a team. I'm like, awesome, we're gonna get some big names here. Wild Dog, Ragman. I'm like, you are pulling some deep cuts. What are you doing? But yeah, it was cool to see him back. Man, and we'll get right into it. It was one of the last things we saw in this episode. I thought, throughout this entire show, there was just one thing that everyone was like, Diggle's first name is John. There's not many well-known black people in DC Comics named John, even though he's literally a new character in DC Comics.
Mm-hmm.
Give or take, he doesn't get a lot of play outside of where he's meant to be. I was like, okay, it's the end season. They're having him switch his colors from red to green because, Team Arrow and all that good stuff. I'm like, I don't think we'd ever get it because Green Lantern's expensive. Now he's got a promotion in Metropolis, and he's got a Green Lantern ring, and I don't know how often he's going to show up, but
I have thoughts on that.
They had to have him wearing a green T-shirt all this episode as well, except for the last 5 minutes.
Oh yeah, that's very subtle foreshadowing.
We're going by Power Rangers rules here. If you've got a color, you're wearing it.
No, but here are my 2 predictions of where Diggle may end up. 1, he's a supporting character on the Lois and Clark show.
Yeah.
And 2, since Berlanti is an executive producer, maybe he's headlining the HBO Max series.
Maybe, could be. That would be cool.
If that's the case, that would be so cool for David Ramsey. It would be. I'd be happy for him to get that big of a boost.
He deserves it. He is a person that could easily carry a show. Easily. I would watch that in a heart. I'm still going to give it I don't know how I'm going to do that because I don't even have cable anymore. So I would just have to watch it on, I assume, HBO's website. But I would be one of those idiots that was getting HBO to watch Green Lantern, canceling it when Green Lantern came back on. Like most people did with Game of Thrones. But yeah, if you were going to have, I was a little upset. I don't know the Green Lantern mythos that well. I was a little upset that we didn't get to see, it wouldn't be Abin Sur, obviously, but just something fell or the ring didn't come in a case. Because, it's supposed to fly to its next person. And obviously you have to have new Green Lanterns because they have a core. They didn't have one person die, and then just only one person came. So it's just, I wish they would have had the small moment of where there was a Green Lantern on the ground and he picked the ring up. But
it feels like that was a budget constraint because Arrow doesn't. They've admitted that before, that Arrow doesn't have the same budget as like a Legends or a Supergirl. Because the demands of that show are different.
I get that. I just wish like you wouldn't have had to have the person glowing. Like you could have just shown parts of like a forearm that had green leather, something incredibly small. And I get they had everyone but the kitchen sink in here for this episode, but I get it. It was just a small little whatever. But yeah, it was still cool. And that is the most, in this show at least, the fans badgered about that being a possibility, and they finally got it because they're making a Green Lantern show. That was the most fans made that happen thing ever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I've been openly against Olicity as a ship, but at least that came about more organically.
Yeah. You know, like everyone that just dropped the show because they had to have interactions for 2 minutes each show. It's like, God, it ruined the show. I can't watch it anymore. The plot's still pretty good. I just can't bring myself to watch the 2 minutes where Oliver and Felicity have to interact. I'm like, are you hearing yourself? The show is ruined, but the writing's still good. Ha! Your math doesn't work, but let's. Speaking of Diggle, and I could be wrong here. I know I'm not wrong about the one because they literally brought it up in the show. We finally got to see Diggle, of all people, do the salmon ladder in the show. And to my knowledge,
I love his response. Yeah. Turns out it's not that hard.
It's not that hard. And then Vernay, it's not that hard because there's arms of the size of telephone poles. That was really natural. And then I was like, I could be wrong here, but every time we see the salmon ladder, and this bugged the piss out of me, no one ever rides it back down. To my knowledge, Diggle was the first person to ride the pole back down.
Huh.
Because other time... Go ahead.
Sorry. Now that you mention it, like, you're right.
I could be wrong. Outside of Barry.
Okay.
Because Barry wing zips up and down the thing a couple of times. He's the first non-meta to do it, because like every other time you see either Ollie or Sarah do it, they just jack the thing up and then drop. And I was always like, how do you get the pole back down? Like, I get you have something to retrieve it, but it's like, wouldn't you want to make it easier to, whatever. But just minor nitpicking. I was finally like, I never realized that for 8 years, no one ever rode that freaking pole back down outside of Barry.
Speaking of Sarah, I'm just so happy to see her back in Star City. Even like, I wish in universe it was under better circumstances, but
me too. And I'm not saying I want Sarah off of Legends, but a big part of me wishes that the Green Arrow and the Canaries had all three of them.
Yes.
But you literally can't have Legends if you don't have Sarah.
Yeah, that's the only problem. Because like Sarah is so good in Legends, but I think what they're gonna do is kind of like how Felicity is a minor recurring character on The Flash. They'll have Sarah pop in, once in a while.
And the weird thing is, to me at least, when Sarah is on a Legends episode, she is a different version of herself than when she's in a crossover or just an episode of a different show. Like when she's on Arrow, she's basically Arrow Sarah. When she's on Legends, she's Legends Sarah.
I think in the crossover, she's kind of somewhere in between.
Yeah, she gets the very because she has to obviously have a rapport that she has with her people. But yeah, that's just that's not a gripe at all. I kind of like that you get different versions of her. But yeah, it's kind of like once you cross over into a show, your presets change, like you're reprogramming a machine. But yeah, having Sarah there, having her bring Mia, that was a good touch. Having Mia at the funeral was a good touch because I was going to be like, in my head, I was like, they're having his funeral. How the hell is Mia going to be there? And then
it hit you. Duh, time travel.
I'm just a moron. I'm like, I need to stop thinking, how are they going to do blank? Because they have a show that literally has a time shift. So it's like, it's whatever. A detail I need to ask you, because this hit me like a brick wall, and I'm pretty sure I'm right. But again, the first like 3 or so seasons of Arrow kind of really blur into a blob for me. Is Tommy saying that he married Laurel a new universe, the timeline's different thing?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, because I thought I was losing my mind.
Because I in season 1, I don't remember them ever being like engaged, but they were definitely dating.
They were definitely dating, because it's the first thing you see. It's that scene where those two are together and Oliver's watching them in that alley, like on that catwalk or whatever. And then I want to say he at least asked her to marry him, because he's really pissed off, like when he sees the freaking Radioactive by Imagine Dragons is playing in the background. They see them getting together in the end episode.
Mm-hmm.
And like, man, I can't remember, but like it talks about how like it gets brought up at some point, and I was like, the farthest they got was engaged. It has to be. I'm literally having the Mandela effect go in my head. I'm like, did I forget that they were married at some point? I just like, oh. But yeah.
Something else I wanted to ask. How do you feel about Moira's? First of all, how do you feel about Moira coming back to life? Moira, Paul, or Quentin.
You don't have to ask me about Quentin. I get any more Quentin and I'm happy.
Same.
Quentin, literally, as soon as Quentin shaved his head, he became one of my favorite characters. Like, just, I don't know what it is. It's one of those characters where, like, they got the new look and they became a new character. Like, season 2, loved him because he had the switch over. He had the little bit of whatever, like, with Sarah being back. And like he obviously didn't get that right away, but and then he became a douchebag again in season 3 because they needed someone to be a douchebag, and of course they had to pick Quentin. And then 4 on,
that broke my heart.
Yeah, I hated it. I was like, you heard him. You're getting the face turn. Just let him do it. And then I'm like, that's what we had to have every other season. It's one thing I will say that I hated about this show. It's a minor thing. Every other season they had to go back on. We hate vigilantes. All right, Oliver's a hero. We hate vigilantes. We're having a program again. And I'm like, they had to pick a new character each season when they did this to do it. And it was Quentin's turn, but it's whatever. That's the thing we don't need to go back into. I was very happy to have Quentin back. We had literally everybody back except for Robert and the man. I wish they could have came up with a different way to bring up Laurel's not there.
Yeah.
Because go ahead.
Well, here's the thing. I'm okay with Laurel not being there because Katie Cassidy has done such a good job of playing a redeemed version of Black Siren that I would have just assumed that Crisis has kind of shifted her origin, and she just is Black. She just is Black Canary.
Oh, no, I get that. And it's like they've said that she's from Earth 2 and then she came here and whatever. They just kept that part in. It's just, I saw an article. I got a bunch of stuff spoiled from this because I literally didn't get to watch it until when we were recording this, which is my time at 10:53 on Friday night. So crap got spoiled. Like the Green Lantern thing and an article which I did not read because it was going to be more piss baby people complained about Laurel. And I get people didn't like Laurel having certain storylines, which the whole for being an alcoholic, thing
Yeah,
I was never a
wasn't
fan
happy
of.
about that.
Never liked that at all. So that I get them complaining about. No one ever complained about Katie. That I like. Everyone complained about Laurel because Katie is awesome.
Katie is awesome.
But how they got into the office with her feeling upset that because she's there, Quentin didn't get his daughter back. That was amazing. I loved that detail. But it kind of developed into it's okay, I have you, I don't need Laurel. That they didn't word it that way, but man, that is pretty much what got said at the end of that meeting. And the article that was brought up, which I didn't read, was pretty much Arrow found another way to throw Laurel in the trash. And I'm like, okay,
Ooh,
it can't be that bad. But then that scene happened, and I'm like, you're over exaggerating, but they tried to work out a way to say that Laurel's not there and you're an okay substitute without saying, well, you have a role in Arrow and the Canaries, so it makes no fucking, excuse my language, it makes no sense to have Laurel back. And man, I felt that there was almost no way to have a good way to do it outside of Laurel. I don't know if it would have been better for them to say Laurel gave her life because she felt like she wanted to give it to the city. And then you are giving your way and you're holding up Laurel's legacy like Mia is holding up Oliver's.
Mm-hmm.
I wish they could have done I wish they could have done it a better way than they did, but man,
it's one of those damned if you do, damned if you don't scenes, because I see exactly what they were going for. It's just they could have one more rewrite could have like smoothed it out.
Oh, they could have. They had the perfect triple Lux, and then they face planted on the ice. Where it just goes, it's okay, I have you, so we'll be fine. I'm like, but that does, if we're gonna say for a reason that she sharp shots herself clean into the. Wait, hold on. Which one of them in the backdoor pilot transported themselves to the future? Was that?
That was Dinah.
Okay. I was going to say that would have made sense for Laurel as well, because Laurel. Oh, man. Now that brings up a plot hole, in my opinion, for how old Laurel is when you get later on. But either way, that was something I felt could have been done with a little itty bit more tact if they would have took some more time. But it was still a good moment. And having her feel bad that she thinks, in her opinion, Laurel didn't get brought back because of her is a really cool detail that I didn't think of, but was a cool detail to have.
It shows how far she's come as a character.
Yeah.
Oh, but the other question I had about Moira was, what'd you think of her explanation for why, for example, Robert didn't come back to life? She said something like Oliver.
Go ahead.
Like the people who didn't make a difference, like the people who didn't like make a difference in Oliver's life, were the ones who were brought back. I
got exactly how she worded it, but it was basically the people that didn't die to make Oliver into the person who he was.
Yeah, I think that's
like their death affected Oliver, making him the way that he was. Give or take, that breaks some rules because Sarah's alive, but she didn't get brought back. And I suppose we could say the same thing for Laurel, kind of.
Kind of,
because that made him go back on a murder spree, but whatever. But I that to me was the best way possible that you could say that Robert didn't get brought back. That one, it would have been really cool. Don't get me wrong. He was literally the one outside of Laurel that was like, everybody's here. For a hot second, because the commercial break came really quick, I thought Merlin was the one that had freaking the name's escaping me. Oliver's son.
Oh, William?
William. For a hot second, because how disheveled that person looked and how it cut to a commercial really fast, I thought Merlin was the one that had freaking William. Was like, hold on, get back. No. That was not him. And then it came back and I was like, okay. Woo.
Speaking of Merlin, how do you feel about his absence? Did you feel it, or are you like, we've seen him enough?
We've seen him enough, and like he just would have been another person in the background. And like to me, they brought back every hero character.
Okay, yeah, because they also didn't bring back Slade.
Yeah.
Who has like kind of redeemed himself
the
Arrowverse.
I would have been more happy to see Slade back than I would have to see Merlin, because the last time you see him, and it would have been really good because like you see that, well, no, actually, I don't know how that works now, because they showed that Moira's there because they changed the timeline to where Slade didn't murder her.
Oh yeah.
She wasn't brought back to life. She just never died. So I don't know how those rules work anymore. Slade might not be the same person, or like he probably still is, but like he got redeemed in a different way. But like, yeah, he never murdered Moira now. But everybody else went through their bad crap because like you still had Roy, Murukuru, all that stuff. All that still happened. But like, yeah, that's... And that opens up a whole can of worms to where now they can interact with all that. Like we have Himiko, we've got everybody. We have all the siblings now that can show up in the Canaries.
Yep.
So, man, that's so weird. It's so weird. They had everybody there. Legit, and then like, and that makes me think of like how like did she not die at the end of season 7 now, or did she get brought back to life? Like who?
It brings up so many questions.
Yeah, it brings up a lot more questions than answers, which I don't think they were concerned that much with, because they don't need to answer them, because it's just like they're here to have their moment. And
I think that's what I like the most about this episode, that as I was watching it, I did not care about the plot holes or the inconsistencies. I was just kind of there to celebrate the show. And
like, and to me, there wasn't even really that many there, because they literally had, I brought this up before, in Supernatural and before their last current season that's on right now, they came up with the ultimate plot device to go, all that stuff that went wrong, don't worry about it. God's a bad writer. It's the best ever. Guys, I figured out the best way to excuse anything we've ever done, and then just go ahead with all the most random crap that we could ever think of for this last season. I've never seen a one line, like a 2-minute discussion between two people, solves an entire 14 years worth of writing. I was like, huh? And then like the next closest thing was this. A new world popped up. Oliver saved it. You get to be alive. You do, and we don't care about your explanations. It was just really weird to me that they had to go out of their way to show that they changed one person not dying and not just her coming back.
By the way, you know that's a deleted scene from season 2, right?
I don't own them on DVD. I've just only watched the show. So that's just a deleted scene to where they changed that she didn't die?
Yeah, that's...
or an alternate scene, you should say.
Yeah, no, like an alternate take.
Huh. Okay, then I understand why they showed that a little bit, because they had the film, they didn't have to do anything else. Okay. It's still weird that they had to show that one person got saved versus being brought back, but either way, that's kind of cool.
Speaking of flashbacks, something that I really liked, and it does tie into William's kidnapping. They flash back to a moment that we don't get to see in season 1, where like Oliver and Diggle are building their relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And you get to see the list, you get to see Oliver murder like a whole room full of bad guys.
The infinite pocket quiver that he had in a lot of those earlier seasons. Quiver's that big, but it's got 58 arrows in it. But yeah, that was something. And
I love how the guy's name is John Byrne.
Yeah, that was the most Joe Blow name on the planet. Nothing important, just bit. And that was the closest thing they could do to John Doe possible. But this is a random question, and well, know what? Hold on. I need to come up with this so I don't forget to talk about that. But we'll get through the season first before we talk about how it's going to cross over into Green Arrow. How we'll actually have the show called Green Arrow now. That's so weird. It's actually going to be called Green Arrow now.
Right.
But we went through all that. They had the kidnapping. They brought everyone back. They had Roy and Mia are going to get, not Roy and Mia, good Lord. Roy and Thea are going to get hitched. Another possibility to bring them back if you want. Probably only going to get Roy because Willa Holland has said multiple times that she wanted to have a reduced screen schedule, if at all, which made me upset because I really like Speedy.
Same.
And even like the little moment where they're like, I kind of like to get called the Red Arrow. I'm pretty sure I told everybody already to call you Speedy. I was like, oh, that was so good. That is one of my favorite lines in the entire show. That was so great. And the fact that she's not even technically a character from comics, technically.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, Thea is actually based on Mia Dearden from the comics.
Yep. Yeah, I thought was cool.
Which is weird because Arrow's done this twice. They've had they've created characters like based on another character from another character, only to then just have that character anyway. Like Sarah Lance as the original Canary, and then Laurel just becomes the Black Canary. Yeah,
they do these weird things where they make a completely different character just as a setup to have the actual normal character get the mantle later, instead of just giving the mantle to that person. Like, I get it. It's like storytelling, but I was always in my head like, you're creating an extra step to get a season out of this. That's all you're doing. But it was cool ideas, and I get that. And it's like they had people start in opposite order, where Roy starts as Arsenal and then basically becomes Red Arrow, who is now Arsenal.
That one's just weird.
Yeah. I don't know if they did this on purpose or if they've ever stated it. You can tell me. Thea became her own thing based off of Mia Dearden. Oliver is now having a daughter who's going to be Green Arrow, whose first name is Mia. Have they ever stated that they did that on purpose?
I don't know, but I'm pretty sure that Mia is just kind of now the definitive version of that character.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just like I'm going through all this stuff in my head over like what I want to talk about in this review, and I'm like, man, they have got so many wires rerouted through this stereo system of a thing that they've got going to just like they purposely didn't do it the way they wanted to, and then brought back. I'm just like, I get it, it's fine adaptations, but just there's so many cross wirings. What else do we need to go through that we didn't bring up? Where you've got Renee getting his thing for a different reason than originally. Like, if I want to, I'm trying to remember correctly, in the flash forwards that they had, Renee became who he was because the Glades were so whatever, and then the crime was so bad that he tried to fix it.
Yep.
Now, moving forward, they have a show starting to where there was no crime, period. It was so weird to where it's like, they were like, all right, we're going to get a show out of this, but we need to start from scratch. So Elseworlds is going to let us do whatever we want. So we're going to come up with something completely different. These freaking writers, I tell you, I like it. I really do. I write fan fiction for a side hobby, so I get it. Good God, do I get it. They had one last mission with everybody. That was cool, even though you didn't get to see technically everybody go. The minor side moments, drinking the... Do you remember what the name of that vodka was?
Barely. I think they just referred to it as vodka.
Yeah, that's vodka. I just remember that Anatoly called it something at some point, and I swear he had William and Mia drink it when they were in Russia. But that was cool. They had the drink moment. You got to see everybody have their passing aways, not passing away, they're going offs to where they want to go. Man, I never thought about Diggle going to the Lois and Clark show, and the more that now that you've said that, I'm in my head, I can't see it going any other way. Like, he literally point blank said he got a promotion to go to Metropolis. Man, he's going to be Green Lantern on that show. Or he's going to be Green Lantern on HBO. It's just he's going to live in Metropolis, so whenever he's not doing something, he could essentially have two jobs where he's a full-time character.
Yeah.
He would be not a full-time character supporting on one, full-time on the other. No, that's making me wonder about who I want to be the other Lanterns on that HBO show. Oh...
please be Kyle. Please be Kyle. Please be Kyle.
Oh no! I know. I want Kyle. I badly want Kyle. I'm just thinking of who the hell I want to be Kyle.
That's gonna be tough.
You know who would actually? You know who would be an all right Kyle in my opinion?
Who?
Robbie Amell.
I could see that.
I don't think he'd be too bad. He'd have to have a little bit. He's got a little bit more clean cut hair than Kyle normally does. He looks a little bit more haircutted like Hal, but oh man, now I'm thinking in my head of who's going to be the dickhead that plays Guy.
Oh wait! I actually know someone who would be perfect for Guy. I don't know the name of the actor, but on Riverdale, this guy plays like a real douchebag named Brett Weston Wallace.
Okay.
I'll show you a picture later, but
okay.
He just looks he's perfect for Guy.
Okay. We'll see who they're gonna have as their crossings and stuff like that, because if we start hearing people are leaving shows to go there, because I keep hearing rumblings that the DC universe is going to get shut down and that everything's just going to go to HBO Max.
I'm not happy about that. I hope what happens is like the DC Universe app kind of restructures into more of like a fan community than a streaming service.
Yeah, where it's kind of like
that's kind of already what it is.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it might just be like a side option if it comes to something. I want it to be like they could just like plop it into HBO Max as a thing you get a part of HBO Max, if anything. That I think would be good. because it would be something more that they need because they don't have Game of Thrones. Well, technically Game of Thrones anymore. That would be a thing where people would keep it for the entire time, where you can structure stuff to keep it year round. But getting back to that, oh, now that I take that back, I want Robbie to be Nightwing on it. Oh man,
that'd be so good.
If I could have Robbie be Nightwing in Green Arrow and the Canaries as like a reoccurring character, if they have Bloodhaven, I need to stop thinking. I want.
All right, there's only a few more things we have to go over. One of them is getting to see Barry and Kara show up at the funeral.
That was good. And Barry talking to Felicity about how I wish I could have done more, and her telling him that I know you already did everything that you could. And she's like, how would you even know that? She's like, it's you. They are passing that mantle off to Barry to be the new head of the DC universe so hard. They literally might have signposted it on his forehead.
I'm pretty sure Barry, Kara, and Kate are the new Trinity.
Oh, they are the new Trinity. That is for sure. It pretty much just got to, he is the new version of Batman, pretty much, if you want to call it that. And because it's like, obviously, Flash, I think, has their best ratings on that network, period.
I think so. But
yeah, they're going to be holding that down for quite a while. I wouldn't doubt if they can, and we've had discussions about this, be better with the Flash villains, which they're a little handicapped there because a lot of them are just speedsters, and the other ones you have to come up with really creative ways to make them last. The Flash could go for over 10 seasons. You could. To me, for these shows, I was kind of hoping each show was going to get their 10-season box set and then leave. But if you're going to have Arrow move on, we're getting another Arrow show. So
yeah.
What else, man? What else was I going to say? Tommy and Laurel, that was a note. Diggle, finally doing the salmon ladder. Man. A lot of this was flashbacks and them just sitting at the, because like we can't talk about how we already obviously knew that they were going to have the statue because they showed it already. The funeral was good. Man, it's one of those things where it's basically just a recap show and them talking a lot.
And for a finale, I'm really just okay with that.
Yeah, it's fine. It makes it really hard to talk about because it's like that person was sad. They said some things. That person was also sad. It's hard to recap it because it gets. But yeah, it was a good. It was a good. I can't talk. It was good. I've done a lot of moving today, guys. I'm really tired. I'm working off a new desk, so I'm glad I got this set up in time for us to do this. Yeah. I suppose we can move into talking about
season 8 as a whole.
Season 8 as a whole. It was what it needed to be for them to have a season 8. I think it was Stephen Amell who pretty much said Arrow as a show was done with season 7.
Whether or not I agree with that,
format wise, I think he was right.
Yeah. I've heard like in interviews where like the showrunners basically say that the entirety of season 8 was like a series finale. And when you watch each episode, it really does feel that way.
Yeah, it seemed like they took, and it worked out for the most part, they took an episode to go, this is a flashback for season 1. This is a flashback for season 2. This is 3. This is 4. They pretty much just, which I thought was a really cool idea. When they end these other shows, I hope they do something similar somehow, because that was a really cool thing where it's like, remember that time you were in China or in Russia and the disease broke out, and it was like, yeah, I remember all that. And then it's a cool way to bring back and have member berries through the whole way through. It was good. There's not a whole lot to talk about because it was basically just set up for Crisis.
Yeah.
And him dealing with the Monitor, if they can trust him or not. Yeah, that was about it. I know that sounds kind of lame, but I really don't know what else to bring up.
Because a lot of the stuff we brought up before in our Crisis reviews.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. But I'm excited moving forward. I have moments in these episodes with McNamara, whether or not I like how she's portrayed sometimes, because she's got an attitude, which will obviously mold over a while because she is her father's daughter, and that'll go after a while. But she's got a good start to her. I believe she will do well. I really, really do. I think they picked a great person to have her. I've seen her in nothing previous to this, so I don't know how to judge, but I think she'll be all right. She's got a good supporting cast. People really like the new Laurel. People really liked Dinah. Straight off the Dead set, they liked her.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to develop her own little team if they're all Canaries, because, again, now Zoe's not dead.
Oh, yeah.
She was at that party. Literally, nobody is dead in the future outside of Oliver and Felicity being gone. Now we just have to deal with if we're going to go swinging straight into
okay, wait.
There's
one more thing we need to talk about, and that's the last scene. The last scene in the finale where it's Felicity and Oliver in the
office. Got it. Yeah. Yeah, that was cool. I liked how she doesn't know where they first met, where he saw her in the office looking at his picture. That was pretty cool. It was interesting. It's like how where there's no going back, and how they just show that like they're gonna have their happy whatever. That was cool. I do like that quite a bit. It's kind of how you wouldn't have been that far into Supernatural. How Supernatural handles heaven is pretty much you go into the person's head, they have a room down a hallway like apartments, and then they have like basically this. I'll say Bobby Singer, for example. His heaven was him sitting in a room in his house watching TV, and then the boys are there, Sam and Dee. You have your set heaven is pretty much an 8x10 room of the happiest version of what you could have.
You know what this actually reminded me of? The last scene in Avengers Endgame where with Cap and Peggy just dancing in the house.
That is very true. I get that.
Like that was like my biggest point of reference with Felicity going back to like where she was at her happiest.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is very true. I didn't think about it that way, but that is true. Huh. Yeah. It was really weird. I was expecting them to like fade out of that office and it to be nothing but the office. Like you can't get anywhere else. But it seems like it was just those two and they have the rest of the world to themselves. That was different than I was expecting. But it was still good. I liked it quite a bit.
Yeah.
I don't know what I was expecting to have in that moment, to be perfectly honest, but can't complain. Was there something you were hoping for in that, or?
Like small details aside, I think that's exactly what I was expecting. Like I was expecting Felicity to walk through that portal and just have her happy ending. And this seems to make the most sense.
Did you think that they were possibly just not going to show anything?
That was a kind of possibility, but because this was a series finale, I expect them to end on a more like tangible note.
Yeah, I get you there. Is there anything else you want to get to before we?
I think we covered about just about everything.
Okay. Yeah, man, Green Arrow and the Canaries is going to be weird, and I hope that they are careful because now that we have plot device ring that can basically reverse Men in Black people.
Thank you, Cisco.
Yes, that they need to be careful how they handle all this because that can turn into a spider web of complicated crap really fast.
Oh yeah.
Because you're going to have, I assume it's going to be ending up just being the main cast of the future flashbacks from last year are at the end of this are the ones that basically know what happened.
Yeah.
I
hope they don't I hope the only time we see that device is like was in the backdoor pilot just to set up the who's and whys.
Yeah.
The who's, what's, and whys.
Yeah, and now that we're showing that it's not just that ring is widespread, like there's villains that have it too, that's what scares me.
Yeah, same.
I hope this does not turn into me getting to the point of wanting to punch a hole through my TV to where everyone outside of their dog knew that Barry was the Flash in the first 2 seasons of the Flash. Like he could not help himself but tell people that he was the Flash. And like that was just pissing me off so much. So I'm hoping that doesn't turn into what this ring does, where they're just randomly going, all right, catch up to speed. Bop! And they just hit him in the side of the head with that ring. And I'm like, that worked in the crossover because that was a good plot device to use then because you're like, stuff happened. We need to talk. Mm-hmm. And the people that needed to know knew. But and I'm glad that the roles are kind of reversing because I was kind of not happy with certain details in that backdoor pilot. Like, I like having the way they were, having JJ and Connor. That was the main census point where I was like, those two are switched. I'm like, I want them how they were. I get that they could have a season and then they flip them. But the guy who plays JJ is really good at being a dick.
Yeah, same.
So I was like, get him back to being Deathstroke.
Yeah, I was really like confused why they had them switch. Is it just for the shock value like of that moment?
I think it is. It is literally to set up a plot where,
or is it because of Crisis? I was gonna say because of Crisis that the Diggles never adopted Connor, but that's probably it, isn't it?
That could be it, but in my head, he still addresses him as bro in there, doesn't he? He says something like about his trust fund or something.
Huh.
Either way, I'm fine because he's going to know that he used to be his brother. Eventually, Connor's going to get hit with that freaking ring to let him know. Connor's one of the people that needs to get hit. Connor and Zoe to me, and then eventually William. Like, those are the last 3 I want to get hit. Nobody else. Have them and have it stop there so they know. But to me, I don't like it, but I get why they did it because now for this entire season, you can have him be Deathstroke and have Mia not know that he's Deathstroke.
Oh,
because
yeah.
To Mia, she thinks there's no way he could know because she does not know that the bad guys have that ring. And she doesn't know that he got zapped. So this is a really cool way to have secret identities again and have them kind of worked out. So this is a really cool plot device for them to have it. And that's why I'm worried to where they don't make it out of control because they have a really cool setup with the little that they've used it so far. So. have restraint. Please, CW, have restraint.
Yes, please.
You've got a really cool setup for a cool couple of seasons out of just this idea. Just have restraint. But yeah. What else? You've got the two Canaries moving forward. You've got the setup to have all this going. It's going to be cool because you've got Renee residing over a peaceful city that's going to go bad. And then, like, Renee knows what happens. Renee got zapped by John. So Renee has full knowledge of crap going bad before.
Yep.
I don't know if Renee ever got the... Oh, yeah, Renee did get told that Zoe died and then all that stuff. So Renee knows that he had his daughter back because of Ollie.
Yep.
So, yeah, there's a couple of... Yeah, and then there's a couple of people that... It'll be interesting because... Yeah, man, that's going to turn into some cool plot ideas if they do that correctly. Man, that could be really cool if they do that correctly. God, I hope they do that correctly. Oh, there's such an opportunity to have my heart broken if they don't do this right. Because this is having secrets kept in a way that secrets should be kept because literally people just don't know that they didn't have their brains rewiped.
Right.
Man. Okay. We'll see. I'm hopeful.
Yeah. I so want this to be good.
Has a very, very damn good chance to be amazing. Like I said, just good frickin' God have restraint. But yeah, that's all I can pray for. And I'm gonna every day until that season shows up because don't hold me to this. If it starts out being really good, I might have the ambition to pick one or two shows where we do episodic. One or two. That is it. Because my God, if this keeps growing, it'll be whatever. We'll cover crossovers for sure, but don't hold me to this. I'm thinking of doing one or two.
We'll cross that bridge when we get there. In the meantime, you can stay tuned next week. Eventually, we'll be reviewing Birds of Prey.
Yeah, we'll be. Oh yeah, that's for damn sure. That is, I told Mike before this started, that is getting shockingly good reviews. I was scared that was going to get treated like a dumpster fire just because of its associations. And man, when DC stopped caring about connecting their movies,
that's when it really benefited them.
It did, because they did not have that great of a plan starting out. I won't rip to shreds them like other people have about thinking that they tried to roughshot stuff, but if you can get back to a treat it like multiple universe where these people never have to meet except for sparse moments where you can have crossover stuff, just make it back in the 90s where a hero got a trilogy set of movies and then it was done. You can have such a wide array of cool stuff if you just let the characters breathe. Have that be your thing. MCU's got these big giant connections. You've got these widespread things to where you can do whatever the hell you want because they're not connected. Don't be stupid and have plot holes, but they don't need to be connected. So I don't know if you got any other comment to put on that. I think you'd agree with me as much as that goes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I still eventually want a DC like cinematic universe on the big screen, but they got to earn it.
Oh yeah, they do. For sure. And I think they can. I know they can. We'll put it that way. I know they can. They just, like you said, they have to get their crap in a line and they have to get it together. So, yeah, I'm hopeful. We will definitely be reviewing that. When does that come out again? Next week?
Yep.
Next week. So I'll go see that Friday. I will try my damnedest to see that Thursday. If not, it'll be Friday.
And I'm like, I will probably have seen it twice by the time we review it. Because that's how I roll.
Because it's how and I want to get back in the swing of doing that too. And again, where it's my girl Mary has been getting some praise, and she says one of my favorite comic book characters of all time, Huntress. So, God, don't let me down. But yeah, all right, we're creeping in towards an hour here. We're starting to talk on other stuff, but yeah, one thing for sure on the shows that I'm keeping up with, which is Legends for the most part, Supergirl and Flash. We'll do end of the season stuff. That for sure, that is in the plans. But like I said, depending on how life treats me and my patience level, you might get more next year. Because I really, honest to God, do missing doing some shows week by week.
Same.
Yeah.
I so miss this.
Yeah, me too. But all right, Mike, where can everybody find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Captain K42. Find me at Letterboxd Coach K42, and look for Michael K in all the various movie Facebook groups. I'm not that hard to find.
No, he is not. You can, if you're in one, I can guarantee you've seen them. Because I'm in them and I don't even pay attention to them, but they still come up on my feeds, and it's almost always something from you. Me legitimately at everything involved with Organoid Zero. Within the next few months, I'm going to start streaming now that I have my new desk and I'm getting stuff set up. Don't quote me on that when it's going to start, but my plan is to start when Resident Evil 3 Remake comes out, so we'll see. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Man, it feels so weird that we started doing an Arrowverse Aftershow on a different channel, and we're ending recapping Arrow on this channel. It's weird. And it feels extremely weird because, like I said it, what was the last thing I said that on? Was it for the recap of the last 3 episodes? For, man, am I blanking for the crossover, but like, that show's ending, and it's literally the emblem for this channel. Like I said that last time, it's this arrowhead here is based off of, I want to say it was season 4's. So it was right after it got done having all the weird writing and stuff on it. But yeah, everyone that enjoyed it, we will keep doing future stuff like this. Like I said, you just don't know what, but we will keep you guys entailed, and like there'll be other recap stuff like that. But we will see you guys when Birds of Prey comes. So, toodaloo.